Now, I don't know you very well, but you're not getting the results that you want really badly. And the truth is neither are you and neither are you. But let me be honest, neither am I. Okay? All of us are stuck in our lives, personally or professionally, where we're not getting the results that we want. Maybe it's something like, I really want to get better performance from my team, or I want the quality of our projects to be better. Or maybe it's, you know what, I want my neighbor to park his car anywhere but my grass, okay? Or maybe it's, I just want my 16-year-old daughter to just turn down that Justin Bieber just a little bit. Or maybe it's turn the Justin Bieber up a little bit. I'm not judging, I'm not saying, we all have different situations, but all of us are stuck in some area of our life where we're not getting the results that we want. And the truth is, and what a lot of us don't see is, the reason why we're stuck is because of a conversation. Actually, it's a crucial conversation. It's a conversation where there are high stakes, there's different opinions, and people care about these. There are strong emotions. So as you think about some of these crucial conversations that are keeping you stuck, let me give you an example. A few years ago, we were working with a hospital, specifically a nurse manager in this hospital, who was stuck in terms of performance. One of the nurses who worked for her, she said, is, quote, dangerously incompetent. Now, rather than addressing this issue, what this nurse manager did was she would send other nurses into the patient's room after this nurse would leave to double check all of her work. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to be treated at that hospital. This manager was stuck, this nurse was stuck, their team was stuck, and there was a patient whose life was at risk, all because of a crucial conversation she wasn't holding. So think about your team. Think about your organization. If you're anything like the people that we study, 80% of you sitting in this room right now would say that you're currently working on a project or an initiative that you think was set up to fail from the beginning. Actually, most of you might even describe it as a slow-moving train wreck. Let me just actually ask a question, get some hand raised here. How many of you would say you're working on a project or initiative that you think from the beginning you thought, I knew this wasn't going to work? Raise your hand. Get a quick count. I'm not a mathematician, but it looks like 80%, give or take a few percentages. But the problem with this is you and I know that there are these moments called crucial conversations that have a huge impact on our results. And yet the most common ways that we try to handle them are incredibly ineffective. They're silence and violence. Now with silence, we're kind of shutting down, we're holding back, we're masking our true opinion. Maybe we're avoiding really sharing our concerns. As you think about that 80% number I mentioned to you. If you're anything like the people we've researched, only 10% of you that said you're working on something you think is going to fail, only 10% of you would say, I feel like I can speak up at the beginning of a project to catch that slow-moving train wreck before it even starts. Here's the problem. When people don't speak up and share their concerns, their bad news, their concerns, their issues, they don't go away. When people don't speak up, their concerns and problems, they go into hiding. They go underground within your culture. And silence, my friends, is a quiet killer of not just projects, but relationships and organizational cultures. Now, we hold in our concerns, and sooner or later, those concerns build. I actually saw a funny example of this in a comic strip the other day where it showed an older couple having a crucial conversation. Now, the husband, looking at his wife, had this question. He said to his wife, honey, whenever I get mad at you never seem to lose your temper. How is that? And she had this little smirk on her face, and she looked at him and said, well, I just go clean the toilet. And he had this questioned look on his face and said, well, how in the world does that help? And looking back with a big smile, she said, I use your toothbrush. So we toggle from silence over to violence in our crucial conversations, right? We become coercive, we become forceful, we become attacking sometimes to force people towards our view to do what we want. I was working with one of the largest vehicle manufacturers in the entire world, and in the middle of the class, somebody raised their hand and said, you're describing our culture. That's exactly what happens here. They said about 5 years ago, what started to happen was a lot of the employees were trying to contribute meaningfully to the organization. So people were speaking up, they were sharing ideas, they were talking to their managers about new ideas, about how to make processes more effective, innovations. Well, as the employees started speaking up, the management hearing these ideas didn't want to hear it. They would shut down their ideas. They would raise their voices. They would attack those ideas. So as the management became more violent in the crucial conversation, the employees became more silent. A lot of people hear that story and say, that's just how work is, Justin. That's the way organizations work. But it's not just how it affects a conversation. Silence and violence affect everything that matters to you. Now, in this organization, people's motivation went down. Their engagement went down. what happened was people would come into the manufacturing facility, they'd do a little here, a little there, they wouldn't fully engage, they'd kind of avoid their manager, and then they'd pick up their check at the end of the week. It became so common that they gave it a funny little name. They called it $1,000 a week for hide and seek. $1,000 a week for hide and seek. And they finished by telling me, they said, Justin, our motto was, hey, look, we make trucks, not cents. Maybe that feels a little bit like your organization. So as we think about this, what I'm trying to suggest to you is that the more time you spend in either silence or in violence in your crucial conversations, the worse your results will be. The more time you spend in silence or violence in your crucial conversations, the worse your results will be. Maybe you already know that, but if you do, it begs the question, why do you do it? Why do you and I, knowing that these tactics don't help us get results and build relationships, why do we do them at all? I think it's because what happens is you and I become overwhelmed by what I call the fool's choice. We become convinced that when we're faced with a conversation, you and I, we have to choose. We have to choose between, do I speak honestly or do I act nicely? Do I use total candor or do I act respectfully? We foolishly believe we have to choose either or. And so we're tied to either silence or violence. Now, 30 years of research that my colleagues have done show us that the best of crucial conversations, they don't buy into that mindset. They focus on saying, how can I be honest and respectful? How can I be candid and nice? They focus on dialogue. See, in any organization, any family, any team, everybody on that team, everybody in that organization, everybody in that family has ideas and perspective, opinions and history, data that's meaningful to the organization. And it's incredible when you can create an atmosphere where people feel safe to share all of that meaning. You have this incredible pool of shared meaning. You have this rich dialogue where people feel safe to talk, disagree, and share their ideas. Your group IQ goes up, your collective perspective increases, and you make smarter decisions. And you have more unity and conviction around those decisions. So, what can you and I do about all this? What you and I can do is try to focus on making that connection between the poor results we have in our personal or professional life and holding the right conversation that's going to get us unstuck. And sometimes making that connection makes all the difference. Now, my friend Carrie Patterson, who's also one of my colleagues, is one of the guys who wrote the book Crucial Conversations. A few months ago, he's running errands here in Utah near our office, and he runs into an old college buddy. They're catching up, they're talking about their life and how's it going and how's work and how's family, etc. And this guy is very complimentary to Carrie about Vital Smarts and the work we've been doing. He even brings up the book. He says, Crucial Conversations, oh, what a great book. It's life-changing. Oh, it was wonderful. So Carrie is kind of curious. What did he like about the book? So he probes a little bit. What was your favorite part? What did you enjoy? And the old friend fumbles and fumbles and fumbles for a substantial answer. And he finally turns to Carrie and says, well, the cover alone of the book is life-changing. And to be more specific, the title, just life-changing. Now, Carrie said he kind of was put off at first, like, oh, I wonder if he read it. Maybe he didn't. But Carrie went on to say, I think there's some profound truth in what this guy was saying, whether he knew he was saying it or not. Whether you go through the training or you read the book, you may not remember all the skills or notice all the acronyms when you need to. But if you and I can get better at noticing that there are these moments in our lives called crucial conversations, and they have a huge impact on what we care about, if we can get better at noticing those moments happening, and when I notice it, be on my best behavior, that can be life-changing. It can be hugely life-changing. I can get to dialogue. I can get better results. I can build the relationships I care about, and I can get unstuck. Thank you.